Welcome, and if you've clicked on this video, you're probably intrigued by the idea of an alternative to collecting kits, or you're just a big Nelly fan and you'll watch anything that my face is in, which I appreciate that very much. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. So I have started collecting not kits. I do have a lot of kits. I'm kind of like trying to slow down on those kits. I think I have like 20 plus, and they're like 1/3 of my closet. So I was thinking for a long time, what's the alternative to collecting kits? And the best thing I could come up is collecting club emblems, country emblems, badges, whatever you want to call them, from all the different places I've traveled to. So this video is going to be me talking about all the places I've traveled to. I've also set 7 different stories aside for ones that kind of stood out to me for various reasons, whether it was a stadium tour, a football match, an iconic moment that I witnessed, or even like a random hostel story. And I can tell you why I think it's really cool when you know a lot about stuff about football, random stuff. It's like the easiest way to start a conversation with people, because football is such a international sport, it's like a love language, you know? If you know something about someone's club on the other side of the planet, like if you can talk about Boca Juniors with some random dude from Argentina, immediately you'll have a connection and then you can grow from that. So different kind of video today. I'll talk about all the places I've been to, and then I have 7 specific stories kind of set aside. So I hope you guys are interested. Let's jump into it. All right, so jumping into the first one, the most obvious one, Red Star. I have this badge, and all these badges I purchased from a supplier on Alibaba. It was about $7 each US. A little bit pricey maybe, but I think it's a nice way to remember the place. So the next step is figuring out whether I want to put this in one big frame, or do I want to have like smaller frames I can put around the house, and maybe I want to have a little like cliff notes of the trip, or what I specifically remember about the club or my experience in the country. But Red Star Belgrade, motherland club, supported them since I was younger. I've had ups and downs with like the amount of support I have. When there was a lot of corruption in the Serbian league, I just wasn't a fan of watching it. To be honest, there was a couple of periods in my life where I just wasn't a big fan of watching football. It just felt so goddamn corrupt, and I really hated it. But been to many Red Star games at the Maracana. My most fondest memory is in 2007, I think, when we lost to Glasgow Rangers. We actually didn't lose. It was 0-0. That we lost the first game in Scotland 1-0. But I remember, I'll try to find some videos. It was such an electric atmosphere. It was the beauty of Eastern European football, the fans, the passion. Unfortunately, we had a horrendous team. The best player at the time was Koroman. I don't think anyone that watches this video will remember that guy. But yeah, tragic team. But it is the club I support, so it is what it is. West Ham United, became a West Ham fan. I went to a Fulham game, Fulham versus West Ham at the Cottage, Spencer FC, Green Street Hooligans. I don't know how, but this club chose me, and this is the club I support in the Premier League. So yeah, then we have Japan. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Japan. I've been to Tokyo, Osaka. Probably the closest place on this planet that feels like an alien, like aliens live here. Such a different group of people. They're so friendly, super nice. Such a lovely place. I wish I could have seen some Japanese football, but I think I was there for a season when they didn't have any games. But I really like their country emblem. Dominican Republic. There's a few Caribbean places. I think I can just knock all these out at once. I have Cuba, I have Dominican Republic, I have Jamaica. I'll leave that one for later. I also have Mexico, which I need to work on the emblem, but these are the 2 Caribbean club badges, country badges. A lot of North American people travel to the Caribbean because it's dirt cheap and it's just a nice getaway when it's really cold here. Benfica, from a couple months ago, I went on a stadium tour there. Lovely city, lovely people, lovely stadium. Really remember that well. Italy, just there 2 weeks ago, I went to see Roma versus Fiorentina. Very memorable night in Florence. I saw Kolarov hit a free kick goal, and I have that on video. It's absolutely wild. And I also saw a Serbian guy, I forgot his name, Dusan, on the other team, hit the crossbar from a free kick. He was really outstanding, really stood out to me. Columbus Crew. I did actually go to a Columbus Crew game when I was very young, maybe like 10. Don't remember too much of it, but the MLS was still not booming at the time. It was like maybe 1,000 people at the game. But this will be my this will represent my travels around the US, and I've been to a few places there. So I've got the Ireland badge. Let's see if I can focus in on it. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. This camera doing the Lord's work. So I've been to Ireland. I spent a whole week there. Lovely place. I think it's probably my ideal place to retire. So definitely would like to go back to Ireland. This is the first badge that I actually ripped off a like crappy jersey. So if you're looking for another way to collect these badges when you go to random places, you can always find like, I don't know, on the street somewhere, like a guy selling knockoff kits, and they're like 10 bucks, 15 bucks tops. And if you're not gonna wear it, just buy it, rip off the badge, like I did. Barcelona, a very cool place. I'll tell you the story that I really like from Barcelona. So here's why I love football. Football, first of all, knowledge of football is the first way I bond with almost anyone on these travels. Like if it's a guy from South America, it's already like we're gonna be best buds because I just know everything about football. But here's a funny one. So here's how I diverted an Argentinian guy who was talking to a girl so my friend could talk to that girl. So we're both sitting in this like chaired area, this table, and he's sitting there talking with her, and me and my friend come in, and I sit down. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I sit with you? So like he slides over, and then my friend sits, and he slides a bit more over, and now they're like, this guy and this chick are very far away, and my friend starts talking to the girl, and I start talking to him like, oh, where are you from? And he's like, oh, Argentina, Buenos Aires. I'm like, oh, really? Like, do you support River Plate? I just took a wild guess. He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, dude, you guys lost a tough game a couple weeks ago. He's like, you saw that? I'm like, of course, Copa Libertadores or whatever the fuck it was called. And immediately I distracted him, talked to him for like an hour while my friend was talking to this girl. So that's some wingman stuff right there. Elite wingmanning right there. This one is my Iceland trip. This was my first ever solo trip. Absolutely loved it. Had a great time in Iceland. It was 3 hours of daylight, and I couldn't have had a better time. Couldn't have met nicer people. This is the Thailand badge. I've been to Thailand for about a week in Bangkok and Krabi. Cheap getaway, very nice hostels, good food. Enjoyed Thailand. We have Bosnia and Herzegovina. I've been there when I was younger. I have family there, of course. Most people in the Balkans have family all around Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia. My memory there was splitting my head open and like screaming, and 6 nurses had to hold me down. So yeah, I was playing soccer, and I went under this like apartment building underpass thing, and I stood up and I smoked my head. So that's a fun memory. We have the Porto badge. I think this is the only one where I have 2 badges from the same country. So I bought one just because like I didn't want people that were Benfica fans to get upset at me. I have a Porto one. Someone's gonna be like, well, why don't you get a Sporting one? Come on, dude. Cut me some slack, okay? I have two. Porto, nice place. Slovenia, when I was younger, I passed through it. I met Vlade Divac at the airport in Slovenia as I was going to Trieste in Italy. So I have that one as well. China, not crazy about China. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, not crazy about it. But here's their national team badge. Very simple, kind of cool actually. I don't mind it, but not a big fan of China. Celtic Park. Stadium tour was unreal. I was 3 days there before the big Rangers Celtic game was going on. I actually went to watch the Liverpool game, which is my Liverpool badge, instead of going to the Celtic Rangers game. So I went to the Liverpool home opener against Leicester City. They built a new stand, and I think I was sitting in there, so that was pretty cool. Celtic stadium tour, emotional. I almost cried at one point. They showed this video of the Celtic like history and all this other stuff. Almost cried. I don't know. It's bringing up some stuff right now. Okay. Bayern. I've been to Munich quite a few times. I have not been to the new stadium. I did go see a game at the Stadio Olimpico or whatever. No, whatever it's called. Their Olympic Stadium. It's not Olimpico. That's the Italian one, right? I want to see their new stadium. My cousin lives in Munich, so I will be there in no time. Montenegro. I went on a getaway once with my family to Montenegro when I was younger. Very cheap, very nice, except I remember I got poisoned by some ice. So they gave me Fanta, but they used ice with tap water, and the tap water in Montenegro, I don't know how it is now, but it was literally undrinkable. So, word of advice, don't drink tap water or ice in Montenegro. This is the Greece badge. Went to Greece when I was younger. Funny story there. When I was younger, we went to Greece, and we didn't bring any euros. We had like ATM stuff. Like we want to take out money there, and all the ATMs for some reason were down. So me and my family it was like a 10-hour bus ride, and we stopped at this random store, like mall complex, and like we had no money. We literally had no money, so we had to walk around getting like shopping carts and getting like 25 cents per cart or whatever it was at the time, and that's how we had like enough to pay for like a coffee. So fond memories of Greece. Toronto FC, Canadian club that I support. I've watched them lose in -10 conditions. I watched 120 minutes of football and then penalties for them to lose to Seattle. brutal stuff. Toronto should never host like an MLS Cup final that late in the year. That was an awful idea. I literally couldn't feel my toes. Jamaica, my last one. I went to a Jamaican soccer league game one time with my ex, and we were the only white people there. It was a trippy experience, but I didn't feel unsafe. I felt fine. We had like the driver that was from there show us around. I just loved it. It was such a different experience. They had like music playing and weed everywhere. Very rough. They play so rough. Man, they play rough. They hit each other so hard. It's like they play in like Glasgow Yard or whatever the hell it's called. But this was a memorable experience, to say the least. But yeah, those are my club emblems / badges. Alrighty, so to recap, if you like this idea, if you want to start on your own, you can contact, I will leave the seller. This video is not sponsored, but if you're interested, if you want to do something like this, I will leave the seller's information. I literally contacted them and I said, here are all the club badges and country badges I need. Can you make them? How much will it cost? How long would it take? And it took quite a bit. It took like 2 months because these were all like different individual badges. So if you're interested, the alternative is when you go to a place, you buy the cheapest kit you can get with the nicest badge, get home, cut it up, and take the emblem like I did for my Barcelona one. Where is it? If I could find it, right here. So it's not gonna be it's gonna look a different kind of quality, but whatever, it's all good. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. A little bit of a different one today. Something I wanted to share for quite some time, and something I've been kind of like working on in the background. But if you did, drop a like, sub, and I'll see you next time. Peace.